Okay, so just want to check everything. Okay, what's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Um, Stephen from Cider Report back from another video, and I know them a little bit more cheery, I would say, normally when I'm kind of starting out a video, but some of the things that's happened in the last couple of days, and kind of especially to do with what this video is about, specifically yesterday. Like some of the things that happened is just incredible. So we're going to do this in order of what the video title says. We're going to be doing what has been effectively, or like what has been kind of essentially claimed, or has been said to be the Trump tapes. And they've been called that for a very specific reason. They've been called that because the Nixon tapes is what got him impeached, and this and that and the other thing. And it was a leaked phone call, or it was a recorded phone call, or something like that, or like this and that and the other thing. So yeah, so basically, yeah, like that's kind of what this is about. And it's been said that it's like Trump's version of the Nixon tapes, essentially. So yeah, look, I don't really think that like we have anything kind of further to do other than to just play the tapes, I guess. So now the actual tape, the full conversation is about an hour long. I'm not going to do an hour long, because anybody who is familiar with my channel will know that if I was to react to a video that was an hour long, I'll still be streaming at this time tomorrow. So yeah, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna listen to some of the clips that have been released for it. It's 2 clips actually. So I'm going to, here we go. Let's just give this a listen together.
We have won this election in Georgia based on all of this, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. I mean, having a correct. The people of Georgia are angry, and these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. That you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Now, do you think it's possible that they shredded ballots in Fulton County? Because that's what the rumor is. And also that Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal.
This is Ryan Germany. No, Dominion has not moved any machinery out of Fulton County. We're having.
Well, but have they moved? Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts?
No.
You sure, Ryan?
I'm sure.
You should want to have an accurate election, and you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, I know you don't. No, you don't. You don't have. Not even close. You're off by hundreds of thousands of votes. You know what they did, and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense, and you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk. But they are shredding ballots, in my opinion, based on what I've heard, and they are removing machinery, and they're moving it as fast as they can, both of which are criminal fines, and you can't let it happen, and you are letting it happen. I'm notifying you that you're letting it happen. So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find...
Okay. So I know this is not my usual type of reaction video. I know that I like normally kind of like pause it. Like I probably would have paused it about like 5 or 6 times around that. But you know, there's a lot of information in only 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So there's a lot to be said there. There's really, really, really a lot to be said here. And I just want to do a quick shout out to Rex Chapman, who has the tweets of this and who brought out who tweeted out the clips. So what Trump did there, and there's been several repercussions of this, by the way. Ilhan Omar has called for Trump's impeachment. And I know that there's only like 2 weeks left of Trump's presidency. Jesus, what an absolutely beautiful sentence is that to say, that there's only 2 weeks left of the Trump presidency. But you know, clearly not exactly going down without a fight. But so yeah, so there's only a small amount of time left of his presidency. But yes, she's called for his impeachment, and I think that's the right thing to do. I think that, you know, even if it is like, I'm sure that a lot of people were going to have the opinion of like, oh my God, well, he's only had his, you know, there's only a few weeks left. He doesn't have that much time left. You know, just like, yes, of course, this is bad and we condemn it and this and that, the other thing, but, you know, let's just kind of let it slide. Or maybe not even that in that language, but that's the essentially the case. Like, that's what's going to happen, right? Like that's what they're basically saying. We'll just let it slide, even though it's deeply, deeply wrong what he had done. But he said, you know, like, this is a criminal thing. It's not a criminal thing. Where is the law in, where is the illegality in correctly counting the votes? Why is that illegal? It isn't, it shouldn't be, and it's not illegal. So there's no criminal action. But also, I don't want to say too much because I know this is broken up into 2 pieces. So I'll just kind of say specifically this, and then even after, if it's actually said in the first half, but I think it's only in the second half, I'm just going to let you. The last thing that he said there, and it's still actually on screen, and I think that this kicks off part 2, but it's kind of. He said that he just wants him to find 11,780 votes. He wants him to find those votes. You don't just find votes. Because, and look, I mean, from the guy who's, you know, the law and order president, and who is the, you know, screaming from the rafters and the rooftops for the last couple of months about election fraud and about a fraudulent election and about how, like, oh my God, like it's stolen from him and it's this and that, the other thing. The fact that this guy is now on an hour-long recorded phone call saying that he wants the governor of Georgia to commit election fraud by finding 12,000 votes is literally fucking ridiculous. It is the greatest example of hypocrisy that I have seen in a very, very, very long time. And this is coming from Trump. This is the most hypocritical thing that he has done. And this is Trump that we're talking about. So we'll just go on to the second part.
Like this. And it's going to be very costly in many ways. And I think you have to say that you're going to re-examine it, and you can re-examine it, but re-examine it with people that want to find answers, not people that don't want to find answers. For instance, I'm hearing Ryan, and he's probably, I'm sure, a great lawyer and everything, but he's making statements about those ballots that he doesn't know. But he's making them with such, he did make them with surety, but now I think he's less sure, because the answer is they all went to Biden. And that alone wins us the election by a lot. You know, so.
Mr. President, you have people that submit information, and we have our people that submit information, and then it comes before the court, and the court then has to make a determination. We have to stand by our numbers. We believe our numbers are right.
Well, under law, you're not allowed to give faulty election results, okay? You're not allowed to do that, and that's what you've done. This is a faulty election result. And honestly, this should go very fast. You should meet tomorrow because you have a big election coming up. And because of what you've done to the president, you know, the people of Georgia know that this was a scam. And because of what you've done to the president, a lot of people aren't going out to vote. And a lot of Republicans are going to vote negative because they hate what you did to the president. Okay? They hate it. And they're going to vote. And if you would be respected, really respected, if this thing could be straightened out before the election. You have a big election coming up on Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, so that's why I kind of held off on kind of saying about like absolutely everything that I was wanting to say until I seen part 2, because in part 2 he says, you know, you have a big election coming up, you know, you have this, you have that, the other thing. He's essentially blackmailing him. He's essentially saying, you know, that he, from the president and with the pulpit and with the voice and the power that he has, he'll try and make it so that this governor is not reelected, right? That he'll champion somebody else that's going to run against him, or, you know, he'll say, even though he won't necessarily endorse, let's just say let's just for argument's sake say that it is a Democrat who is running against him. He won't endorse the Democrat who's running against him, but he will say, look at like this guy, you know, he had the opportunity to win Georgia for us and he didn't do it, and this and that, the other thing, you know, he's a rhino, he's this and that. He would have said something along those lines, right? You know, like something to that effect. But one of the biggest things that he kind of said in there, or like one of the biggest claims that he said in there, was that that if he got Georgia, that would have won the election for him by a lot. No, it wouldn't have. It just wouldn't have. This race was not close. There was 7 million votes in the difference. There was 306 to 236, which was literally the exact, I'm pretty sure it's like the exact or almost the exact numbers that Trump got versus Hillary 4 years ago. So if he wants to say that, you know, like, he's not going to say that Biden won by a landslide, because he said that he won by a landslide last time. He's not going to diminish. He's not going to say that he only barely won. Well, actually, no, he is, but he doesn't realize that he's shooting himself in the foot there. Because if he's saying that he barely won, then that kind of slanders, or that kind of goes against the kind of conventional wisdom that he was going off of by saying that he won by a landslide slide versus Hillary 4 years ago. And this is the biggest problem. And it's like, look, what he did here was highly, highly illegal. So you have asking somebody in good faith and knowingly asking them to commit election fraud. You have blackmail. You have probably a whole host of other things as well. The point is, what he did there is stupidly illegal. And yeah, look, we're not going to go into that or like talk too much about it, just because like it's just absolutely insane what he did. And the fact that he thinks that this is legal and that he's going to get away with it, you know, I mean, like, everybody knows that like Trump had kind of floated the idea of like, oh, is it okay, or like, am I able to pardon myself, or am I able to do this or that? So no, you're not able to pardon yourself. There is a way that like he would have to step down, and then Pence goes up to the presidency, and then Pence pardons Trump, which he probably would, because Pence is his most loyal sycophant, even though Trump has now very, very recently actually turned on Pence when he acknowledged the results of the election. He would have to do that, but then, I mean, Pence is going to kind of sully his own political career. I don't know if he's that much of a sycophant for Trump that he would actually do that he would risk his career in politics for for this guy. Look, I don't know whether, maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. I don't know. But the point is that that's a little bit of a stretch. There was several kind of like, ways that he would have to. He can't just pardon himself, but pardoning, like when you get a pardon from the president, there's almost like an underlying message in that action, which is saying, look, you did something illegal here, but I'm going to pardon you anyway because, I like you, or, there's some smoke-filled backroom deal that's kind of going on here, and, that sort of thing. You don't like there's the implication. It's not always the case, right? So just for example, if Trump had have pardoned Assange or Snowden, they didn't do anything wrong. They were whistleblowers, and they exposed like a massive amount of corruption and a massive amount of kind of all this like shadiness and stuff. But the point is that like they didn't necessarily do it, like they didn't do anything wrong there, but it's an underlying kind of um it's an underlying implication that there was something illegal done. So Trump's not going to do that. He doesn't want that, like he doesn't want anybody thinking that he did anything wrong. He doesn't That's not what he wants. So I'm very sorry. I'm getting slightly distracted because my stream appears to have crashed. Or at least it has on my laptop's end anyway. We'll just give it just a moment. Just like... So I'm very sorry. I'm getting slightly distracted because my stream appears. Okay, no, so it doesn't seem to be distracted on, or sorry, it doesn't seem to have crashed on my phone or on the actual playback. But yeah, so now I can't. Oh fuck. Okay, so yeah, so now so we're just gonna be looking at this for the whole thing. I had planned on showing like some images and stuff like that, but yeah, that's highly unfortunate. Can I add myself? Now I'm gone. Oh shit.
Is
Is
that
that making it any better? Okay, you can hear me. Okay, so the audio is going to take a little bit of a tank just for a little moment. I'm extremely sorry about this, but I'm just going to reboot everything and just hopefully that will work and stuff. So, oh yeah, and then you just get that awful fucking image of me reaching over and pressing on my power button. Lovely. Okay. So yeah, look, as I said, extremely sorry about this. A little bit in the very, very poor quality stuff like that. This is perhaps my ISP is indulging too much cider and port. Possibly, maybe, right? Maybe. We don't know. Okay, there is an update that's just forced itself upon my laptop at the most inopportune time. That's just delightful. Well, I know there's it shouldn't be two of me now, right? It should only be one of me now. I mean, like I essentially entered it twice. I entered the room twice, but yeah, okay. God, I'm very distracted. Well, that is. I'm not going to say that that's aggressive, but maybe. Oh, there was an echo. Yeah, because I was talking into the mic and into the thing on my phone as well. So yeah, it was probably going to be a little bit of an echo. But it's. I'm very sorry. It's just a whole thing. Okay, so laptop has reawoken. So I'm going to yeah, I'm going to boot Chrome back up, and then I'm just going to mute myself and then take over on my laptop's end. So restore StreamYard. Okay, we should be back up. Oh God. Your browser can't access any device. Why can't you access any devices? That's very fucking odd. Okay, look, we're just gonna reboot that because that's odd. Sorry, I know. I like. Okay, genuinely, how there are still people on this stream, like I actually don't know, because like you're just amazing, just listening to me, just trying to figure out stuff, literally just in the background. So I'm like can't see nothing or hear nothing or anything else.
And now I'm back. So sorry about literally every single part of that. That was just horrendous. So, laptop is back. I was just going to say, oh, dear God. Okay, so all of this has moved over. No, we want that over there. And we want it full screen. Yes, that would just be... see the above comment of me ignoring you. Of me adoring you. I see dyslexia. I read that as ignoring me. That wasn't aggressive. That was I adore you aggressive. All right, okay. I'll take your word for it. It's pretty handy though. That I just want to personally just kind of shill for StreamYard just for a little bit, because I mean, like, that's kind of like impressive that I can, like, my laptop can essentially just crash and yet I can still be live. I really, really like that. Oh God, if I could edit, I would, and I would edit out all this just meaningless kerfuffle just right in the middle there. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to be going with audio, but you know what? We're just going to go for it anyway. Okay. So these are just some of the images that were from yesterday that people saw that could be seen. I mean, look, it's fucking, it's awful. You know, it's one of the, yeah, that's where I was. That's where I was. This is genuinely one of the biggest examples of domestic terrorism that I have seen in a very, very, very long time, at least in modern times, in the modern day. Let's just go over now that I have my fucking Chrome browsers back. Terrorism. Definition. So, terrorism is the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. If that does not fit with what happened yesterday, with people storming the Capitol, going in there, a lot of them heavily armed, a lot of them wanting to commit violence, wanting to commit violence. Jesus fuck, I'm off. I'm see that I'm just off my game now. People who are wanting to it's just, yeah, look, Manda, honestly, like, it's just like, I went through my Instagram feed today and like a lot of stuff like was either in posts or was on people's stories and stuff like that, all about the Capitol, about people storming it, and about the violence and about the blatant like hypocrisy and the double standard when it came to Black Lives Matter protests versus this versus what happened yesterday, and how ready, willing, and able people were to fire rubber bullets, to tear gas, to you know for such like ready like counter acts of violence from the police towards the protesters. And how quick and easy it was for them to be willing and able to do that, to be violent towards somebody who was there protesting for Black Lives Matter. It was so disturbing to kind of see it, and to see such a blatant contradiction. There was police officers, there was a video. I don't know if I'll be able to find this again. But there was a video that I saw of the police that were in the Capitol building that were taking selfies with the people who stormed inside. People who stormed inside who were armed, there was a bomb found on the grounds of the Capitol building. They had tear gas. And they were taking selfies with them as they were coming in the door. You imagine that happening when there was Black Lives Matter people that were protesting in the streets, and the amount and the severity and the blatant, like how obvious it was that. And it was so weird because in a time where we were all up in arms, and we were all justifiably and rightly outraged at the amount of police brutality towards predominantly black people in the United States, that during the time of the protests that are trying to raise awareness and that are trying to hold people accountable and are desperately crying out for something to be happened about, it's for some consequences, for something to be put into place so that this doesn't happen again. There was more and more acts of police brutality towards mainly black citizens in the United States. So in protests, standing up to and fighting back against brutality, we get more acts and more examples of brutality. It's ridiculous and it's insane. And that would be ridiculous and insane in and of itself and by itself. But then when the motivations and when the political affiliation is changed, you get this. You get, as people have said, no plan. They, they hesitated bringing in the National Guard. The National Guard was called almost fucking immediately as soon as it was BLM protests. The military was called in almost immediately as soon as it was BLM protests, but they were nowhere to be found. At least for a very long time yesterday. It's just like how obvious can you make this? And then there was this complete and utter fucking idiot. And yes, I know that's probably one of the most Irish phrases that Mandy, you're, with Robbie, so you've probably heard it a lot. But for a lot of the audience, that's probably one of the most Irish phrases that you've heard in a very long time, because it is a very, very Irish phrase. Look at that fucking idiot. He is shirtless. He is wearing a pelt of some description, and he has his face painted in the fucking colors of the American flag. You absolute fucking git. Look at him. Just look and point and laugh at the fucking idiot. Oh, and because, of course, he's carrying the flag. Just it would be one thing if, like, every protest, right, irregardless of, the politics of the people involved, or irregardless of the the persuasion, or like how big or how small it is, if there was a set standard response from the police or from the National Guard or from the military or from whatever, if there was a set standard response to protests, right, trying to keep them as peaceful as is humanly possible, trying to, dissuade people from, doing any sort of acts of violence or anything else like that, stopping looting, stopping all of these things that we can all condemn. But it's just how obvious the stark contrast between how they treated protests for Black Lives Matter versus how they are treating this. And it was, every single Black Lives Matter protest was blown completely at, both, not even necessarily out of proportion, because there was like a shit ton of people protesting in the streets, and I would happily shake the hand of every single one of them as soon as I'm vaccinated for COVID, that is. But the point is that like anybody who is out, you know, because of how the media works and because of how easy it is to have a platform in 2020, let alone 2021. It was so easy for so many people, old media, new media, written media, whatever. Any idiot with a Facebook account can go online and can paint a picture, can paint the narrative that all of these Black Lives Matter protests, that the vast majority of them were non-peaceful, right? How many of us have heard that, right? That, and even if it's not the words vast majority, even if it's most or a lot of, or, you know, any of these types of words, the narrative was there was so many people, there was so many of these peaceful protests for Black Lives Matter. This is them talking, not me. Where in actual fact they were so violent and they were absolutely out of control, and oh my god, they were this and that and the other thing. %93 of Black Lives Matter protests were peaceful. 93%. And there's been studies, and there has been, you know, data collected, and the methodology of those studies checks out. 93% of Black Lives Matter protests were peaceful and were non-violent. It's the stories about the rioting and the looting, but it's also the language that the right uses when they're describing these things. That's what matters. That's what makes them seem, you know, bigger than what they actually are. That's what makes them insane. This source is going to reload now, and there was videos involved. I'm very sorry. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, yeah, there we go. That's the one I'm looking for. No, not there. There we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That's the one I was waiting for. No, Joe Biden, shut up. Nobody wants to hear from you. How do I make this? There we go. I was just going to say, how do I make this fuck off? Here we go. Hi, Mathpig. We were just talking about you. And it's just, oh, what was I saying? What was the last thing that I was saying? Oh, yeah. The language that the right wing uses when they're talking about this stuff, they say things like they were burning down cities, that cities were burnt down. Now, it's becoming a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. I'm not going to lie to you. That when I hear or when I see somebody saying that there was cities in the United States burnt down, I ask them which cities it was, and then they tell me, you know, if there was like, I don't know, like a building that was burnt down in a certain city or something like that. So they'll say the name of the city, and then I'll come back to them about 5 or 10 minutes later, and I'll be like, yeah, you don't know, I've just Googled it, and that city actually, like, it's still there. It hasn't been burnt down. And they're like, yeah, but it was buildings in it. And I was like, yeah, but buildings is an awful lot fucking different than cities burning down. Like a few buildings burnt down is like less than 5. A city is like an entire fucking city. Like it's several thousand square miles of, like, you know, buildings and people and businesses and all that sort of crack. So I know it's a little bit, you know, it's a bit whatever. It's a pet peeve of mine because, you know what, fuck you. I mean, like, language is important, and like words have to mean something. Like words in like everyday language, they have to mean, like, they do mean something. Words don't have intrinsic meaning, but like If I say to you that a city was burnt down, it's very obvious what that means colloquially. So if you're telling me that a city was burnt down, I'm going to fucking ask you which one it was. It's just, God, I don't even know. I don't even know. And look, I'm sure that, you know, the kind of likely candidates like your Ben Shapiro's and your Stephen Crowder's and your Candace Owens's and your holy shit, his face is even smaller than you realize. Charlie Kirk is going to do videos on this and is going to talk about it and is going to say, oh my God, and like, you know, oh, it's ridiculous. Because by the way, I've already seen this. I tried to get this up on the screen, but there was no way that I could work it out where I wasn't putting her personal Instagram in it. And look, at this is going out live, there's no editing involved, so I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to do that to her, where I was going to like essentially like dox her actual Instagram. But she basically said that like anybody who was saying that, you know, that like this was terrorism is hypocritical, because we all at the time said that the Black Lives Matter protests were not terrorism. So you're hypocritical if you say that this one is. I wanted to show that. That's kind of like the gist of what it said. I wanted to show that, but I wasn't able to, because again, I'm not going to dox somebody. But this is what we're up against. You know? This is what we're up against. We're up against coded language, exaggeratory language. I'm not even sure if that's a word, but it sounds right. Like language that is, it's like makes it seem like the problem is bigger than what it actually is. We need to call this shit out, like where it is and where there is problems. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but if you're going to use language like cities were burnt down, and you're hypocritical if you call this terrorism, but you didn't label Black Lives Matter protests as terrorism. This was designed, this was the intention behind this, was to cause at least some measure of violence, right? Whether like from the absolute bare minimum of like civil unrest or, you know, chaos in some form, at a bare minimum, that's what it was designed to do. There have been people who have like, I'm sure there have been. I think I saw something like there was a certain amount of people that were killed yesterday in this. I'm sure we'll get the final tally numbers after a little while. But it's just, this is some of the shit that I just, okay. If anybody, by the way, I'm not saying that I'm wrapping this up yet, but I want to say specifically to any of the Americans that are in the audience, it's not necessarily that I'm excluding anybody else. Mathpake, Michael, if you want to jump in as well, but just specifically to some of the Americans in the room, because like this is just an outsider's point of view, right? Like, you know, in case you haven't told by, you know, in case you can't tell by the accent, I'm not from around here, you know, if you're living in the States. So this is just my perspective, and it's outside looking in. And I think that on a lot of these kind of issues, you do need that kind of perspective. And so that's why I'm doing a video on it. But if specifically to any of you, if you want to jump in here and just share what you thought, and how you kind of reacted to it. And so, has my shit frozen again? Has my stream frozen again? Anybody in the live chat? No? No, anybody? No, anybody? It doesn't seem to be. No, okay, it's just on my laptop again. It's after fucking freezing. Jesus Christ above. Okay, how can I get that in there? Oh no, sure I can, I can do it this way, can't I? Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it on my phone as well. It's just frozen. My laptop's a piece of shit. Either that or maybe I just have too many fucking Chrome tabs open because Chrome is a massive RAM eater. So maybe that's just what's doing it there. Yeah, so to anybody, I mean, like, I guess I'm just kind of going to particularly kind of almost like target, although it's probably the wrong word to use, to target Manda. Like, if you want to come in and just kind of share how you kind of felt about it, because you've been very active in the chat and stuff like that, and so, yeah, look, that's an open invite, as I kind of always do at the end of these types of videos. But yeah, no, anybody who kind of wants to join in or who wants to kind of give their opinions on it, just let me know, and we'll go from there, kind of, essentially. But yeah, no, the stream is running okay. It seems to be. Yeah, it's just my fucking laptop. It's just genuinely just a piece of shit. So yeah. Manda would love to, but she can't right now. Oh, yeah. As I had said, it wasn't just obviously for Manda. I was just using her just as more of like an example. Just because, as I had said, you were very, active in the chat and such like. So yeah, look, I don't know what else to kind of say about it. I kind of maybe planned on this stream being a little bit longer than maybe what it's turned out to be, but I don't know, man. Okay. Stream has now crashed on my phone as well, which would kind of seem to be okay. Give me a moment. I'm so sorry. Give me a moment. Am I here? Am I in? Yes, I am in. Okay. God above. Okay, there's something maybe happening with it. I am genuinely extremely sorry for the extraordinarily poor fucking quality of stream that I'm doing today. This is going to be causing an echo again. Oh, wait, no, is it back? Is it back? It kind of seems to be. The video is somewhat paused. Well, but then again, it's like, I don't know. Okay, look at. I don't know. So of course I have it fucking playing because I have the thingy running in my background. Yeah, I'm very sorry if there's an echo. I think there is an echo. Yeah, there is a slight echo. Okay, so you can just mute that. Is that, yeah? Okay, so that's after kind of doing that. Okay. Oh, God above, I hate this fucking laptop. Okay. I'm going to kind of go into final thoughts. Hopefully I'll have my laptop kind of back and up and running and stuff like that and such like, so that you can actually kind of, see me as I'm doing my outro sort of thing. But yeah, look, I don't know really kind of where we go from here. You're going to have people who are going to defend Trump. You're going to have people who are going to say that, oh, that like Trump, essentially did nothing wrong, or not, well, well, yeah, you're going to have people say that Trump did like nothing wrong with the whole call to the Georgian governor. You're going to have people who are going to say, "Oh my God, you're hypocritical if you call out this, but not Black Lives Matter, etc., etc." You're going to have people all over the place who are going to say all of these ridiculous things and are going to, point to all of these things and are going to say, "Oh my God, if you do one but not the other, or if you do this but not this," and it's just a hate. All of it's just extremely hypocritical and this and that and the other thing. You're going to have people all over the place who are going to be saying things like that. Um, it's just inevitable if you do, that you're going to. It's inevitable, you're going to have people all over the place who are going to say that, oh, like it's this, that, and the other thing, and that you're always going to have people who are going to defend the indefensible. You're always going to have people who are going to try and stand up for, or try and, say, oh, though that there was no wrongdoing in this particular instance, or in that particular instance, or in. It's just always going to happen. It's always going to happen. I don't know what to say, man. Has this given the left an awful lot of ammunition when it comes to like general debate, and when it comes to like trying to, figure out who our enemies are? Sure. Absolutely it has. And it can help debate discourse, but looking at this from an outside debate type of a setting or type of a circumstance, this sets an extremely dark and extremely dangerous precedent, which is that if this shit is okay, if this shit can be condoned, can be overlooked, can be defended, how much harder is it now? Every single fight the left has. How much harder does it seem now for justice to be done in the name of Black Lives Matter? We just got the news today, or was it early hours yesterday, or because of the time differences, I woke up to I woke up to this news that the cop who shot Jacob Blake getting off. He's not going to serve any time. He's just completely gotten away with it. He shot him 7 times in the back, and he's getting away with it. This is not just the type of shit that enrages me, but it enrages me for so many different reasons. There is of course the obvious ones, and there's the reasons that, annoy all of us. But when we are talking about trying to achieve something and trying to get justice for people, when this type of stuff can be condoned and can be okayed, and when we live in a world where where people can defend this, it just seems just that little bit harder. I can do a whole rant on why I support Black Lives Matter. I can do a whole rant on why the cop who shot Jacob Blake was, out of line. I can do my whole rant on that, but it's to anybody who kind of is even marginally on my side, that I'd just be preaching to the choir at that point. It's just I don't know. I think that, like, how much further can people go? How much further can the right go? How much more stuff can they do or can they say that we then have to try and somehow combat against? That we now have to try and somehow, like, bring people away from the cult of the alt-right. Because this shit is getting normalized. This shit is becoming, like, it's so easy to fall into Trumpism. It's so easy to, it's so easy to back Trump because, like, for impressionable younger teenagers is what I'm specifically talking about. People who don't really kind of know any better. And I don't even mean that in like a condescending way. I mean that in a purely, like, they don't know anything about politics because they're, like, particularly young. And how easy is it for them to pick up on something that they hear about politics, fall into that now normalized, now okay trap, go down a rabbit hole of watching video after video after video of people from Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Stephen Crowder, Stefan Molyneux, all of these types of all of those characters, and be radicalized and be turned away, and be like, fall for the trap of 1350, fall for the trap of welfare queens and all of these terms that we have answers to, that we know, like, how to combat those things. At least I do. But that are then brainwashed into kind of like thinking or repeating to themselves that, oh, well, there's no, how do I say it? Or that the left doesn't know anything, or that they're all just a bunch of, like, whining babies and all this sort of, all that sort of thing. Like, that's specifically what I'm talking about. Like, how easy is it for people to kind of go into that? I don't know, man. But look, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. If you disagree with me, I'm going to stay streaming for another minute or so. If you disagree with me, say so down in the comments right now. I'll drop you a link and you can jump in and we'll have a chat about it. But, or if you're watching this after the fact, comment. I'll get back to you. I don't know what else to say, man. We have a very, 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 very long fight ahead of us. And, very left-leaning politicians have just kind of gotten in and stuff like that. And the squad has expanded a little bit more. And that's terrific, obviously. But we still have a long way to go. Pelosi got the speaker again. There wasn't a force to vote on Medicare, there's I don't even know what to do or say anymore. I really don't. Our next hurdle is the 20th. Our next hurdle is the 20th. I'm going to say this now. For anybody who is still here, you have my full permission to clip this and to to clip it. You can hear me now and then quote me later. The second, the microsecond that Biden takes his hand off that Bible on the 20th of January, every single Republican, every single conservative, every single news pundit, every Facebook mom, all of that sort of shit. Every single one of them who have spent the last year saying that COVID was an exaggerated flu, saying that masks don't work, saying that the COVID deaths are greatly exaggerated, saying that any one of all of these things, any one of them, the second that Biden's hand leaves that Bible, hear me now and quote me later, they are going to be clutching their pearls and they are going to be absolutely outraged at the numbers of COVID deaths. They are going to be outraged about the debt and the deficit. They're going to be suddenly very, very, very concerned about it, as always happens if a Democrat takes over a right president. Always happens because a Republican president, at least historically, explodes the debt and the deficit, and the Democrats historically usually lower the debt and the deficit. Of course, then the right will spend the next however long period of time lying about it and saying that no, that didn't actually happen and that it actually went up. But anyway, but hear me now and quote me later. All of these things that right-leaning people have spent the last 4 years either not giving a shit about or not talking about, they are going to spend every single waking moment of Biden's presidency yelling, screaming, and wailing from the top of their fucking lungs out on their balconies, on their fucking rooftops if they have to, about all of these things that they have spent the last 4 years not giving a shit about. Guaranteed. Anyway, nobody has said that they want to jump in here, so I know that actually nobody has, technically speaking, ever said that they want to. I'm still going to leave that open because, as the channel grows and as people that will disagree with me start watching, there's a more likelihood that people are going to jump in. That's another thing. Look, I don't normally kind of do this. I normally just kind of end my videos. I want to just kind of say this. Anybody that you know is going to disagree with what I'm saying, right? Send this video to them and send them, say that I love to debate, say that I love to do all this stuff and try and get something set up. If you know somebody, that is going to be, look, it's a whole thing. You already know what I'm going to say. If you know somebody that is going to that is not going to agree with me, send it to them. Maybe we'll get something set up. I don't know if MathPig is still in the chat, but I know that Manda is, or at least MathPig hasn't commented in a little while. I messaged MathPig last night on Twitter about possibly setting up a debate. And the person that I had referenced earlier that had posted this up on Instagram, that's who I'm potentially going to be debating. She's basically said that I had kind of floated the topic of socialism versus capitalism. Now she has agreed to that debate topic, so just need to kind of iron out exactly kind of when that's going to be, and I will let you know as soon as possible. So that one's going to be very, very fun. You know, I mean, if we're doing broad scale, just capitalism, I mean, Jesus Christ, math pigs at work. Okay. So yeah, look, yeah, I mean, if we're doing kind of like broad scale, you know, socialism versus capitalism, I mean, this is going to be a fun one for me. But yeah, look, it's a whole thing, and it's going to be super fun and super entertaining. So hopefully, but yeah, the best producer in the universe here now. Oh, okay. You'll have to forgive me because I'm not 100% getting that reference or getting like the joke there, but like, okay. Maybe it's probably me. It's probably me. I probably just missed something, and it's just not getting like an otherwise very obvious reference. Wait, you're GE's producer? Fuck, there. See, look, see, it's just very, very obvious, and I just didn't get it. So sorry about that. Didn't mean any insult or anything else like that. Okay. Yeah. Right. I've already said that I'm going to end this like 4 or 5 times now, and it's kind of getting a little bit, you know, whatever. So, yeah. Until that debate, if I hear any more, I'm going to tweet about it. So follow me there. The link is, where is it? There. It's there. It's not there right now. That's my Discord, but it will be there. See, there. That is my Twitter. That right there. That's my Twitter. So follow me there, and I will kind of announce that I will be doing my or I'll be posting updates about the debate and stuff like that, and I'll be posting updates about like future videos that I'm going to be doing, this and that, the other thing. So yeah, until then,